On today's Rebound Rundown, I sat down with Wright State head coach Clint Sargent, entering his third season as head coach of the Raiders, coming off his first NCAA tournament appearance, won the Horizon League tournament title this past season for Wright State. What it's like leading a program in 2026. How do you balance family life with coaching when you have 5 children? We covered Wright State. We covered college basketball as a whole. All of that and more coming up in just a second. Make sure you follow us on social media at Rebound Rundown. Subscribe on YouTube and subscribe and follow wherever you're listening to this. All major podcast platforms, especially Apple and Spotify. Here is Wright State head coach Clint Sargent. This is the Rebound Rundown. I'm your host, Paul Fritschner. Your home for college basketball in the Cincinnati area and across the country every Monday through Friday during the season. Make sure to subscribe on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts. Welcome into another episode of the Rebound Rundown. We are on the road. It is a summer edition of the Coaches Series, and it is great to be up here in Fairborn, Ohio, getting to sit down with third-year head coach Clint Sargent of the Wright State Raiders. Coach, it's been a long time coming here. You and I have been going back and forth here, getting a chance to get up here to Wright State. This is my first time up here to the Nutter Center. Got a chance to watch practice just now and to see your new group of guys, and I appreciate you taking a few minutes here on the rundown to sit down, showcase your program and everything that you got going on here. Coming off an NCAA tournament appearance, the Wright State Raiders are the reigning Horizon League tournament champions. Went to the NCAA tournament this year, a 14 seed. Came up just a little bit short against Virginia, but Coach, you gave him a hell of a game. Yeah. And we'll get into all that, but I appreciate you sitting down here with us today.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks, Paul, for being here. We're fans of your content, and anybody that loves mid-major hoops, loves this kind of southwest corner of Ohio, all that you do for the game, glad we could finally connect.
I appreciate that, because I was just sitting there yesterday talking with somebody around the sport who was, we were talking about the rundown and covering everything, and he said, man, it's got to be awesome being here in Cincinnati and knowing you can get to so many Division I programs right away. And you and I were talking just before we went on. It's not just that there are programs around here. It is consistent winning NCAA tournament programs all around here in the Southwest Ohio area.
Yeah, imagine that for you in terms of content, the access, but as a coach, the competitiveness of that, the great examples you have, the area really cares. I mean, our fans here at Wright State are tremendous. All that local success, not only ours, but just around the region, really helps push the game forward, and it helps push for us as coaches to make sure that we stay competitive in all areas of how this industry is changing. When you have teams that are winning around you, it in I think a really healthy way puts pressure on all your people to keep driving it forward.
We had Darren Horn, the head coach of the Northern Kentucky Norse, on last week's episode. Now we're sitting down with you. So we're doing a Horizon League tour here and getting a chance to talk to both of you. And obviously both very competitive programs toward the top of the horizon. Every year I feel like it's one or the other. And this year it was Wright State that goes to the NCAA tournament. Coach, for people that maybe are getting to know you for the first time, that are viewers and listeners of this program that haven't had a chance to hear from you before, you have been around this program for a long time. You were an assistant, you were on staff, you were elevated to the associate head coach. Now you're the head man at the job, and you take the team to the NCAA tournament in your second season. So what was that like for you to see everything that you've worked for ascend to a tournament appearance as quickly as you got them there here as the head coach?
I mean, it was special, and you mentioned just the time I've been here. This will be season 11. My wife and I are here. We have 5 children, have really grown up through this community in all different types of ways. Husband, father, obviously as a coach, learning very early on. When Coach Nagy took the job, I had never been a recruiter. I came with him from the director of operations chair to an assistant coach. So thankful to him to give me a chance to cut my teeth and learn and grow through a lot of failure. And then you fast forward 8 years later, now get a chance to lead as the head coach in very similar dynamics. I'm thankful to our administration. They gave me a chance and grow through failure, which that first year was really hard. I mean, we had great retention of guys that I had grown up with, and really I look back at that year and in a lot of areas that I didn't feel like I equipped our team to learn through some of that pain of that 15 and 18, to have a lot of the backing of the staff great retention with our staff. I've grown up here with all these guys to kind of just jump into this new era, flip your roster in some areas, make sure you retain the right hearts and minds. And then to have a year this past year where we were 5-7 to start, and a lot of those same demons came back early. That hey, can you do this? All those things that I always feel like as a leader, first as a husband and father, I have to challenge myself to address myself first, and make sure that I'm being real in attacking all the things that maybe I don't want to, and then that'll give a chance for my children to grow into certain things. Same thing applies to our players. So that first part of last year, we grew a lot, and thankful to last year's team. They were just completely bought in, not only to me and our staff, but more importantly to each other. And I think that connectivity that you're going to hear every coach speak of, there was a great foundation of just trust and love and not fearing any failure. And because of all that, we just grew and grew and grew. And then you get to that conference tournament. I mean, you still need to win the moment and go take it. And I was thankful that after winning the regular season, there was we didn't relax, but we also didn't grip it too tightly where we put so much pressure on ourselves to not go out there and perform. And thankfully, looking back, we got it done. And it's so fleeting. It's so fast. Now we're already fast forward to a new team, but this team's already taken shape, and really excited about the pieces we have moving forward.
What were some of the things you learned this year when you're looking at that 5-7 record and you're through 12 games and you recognize that, hey, look, we have time. We're going to get through Horizon League play, and then it all comes down to 3 or 4 days in March where we have to be at our best. What were some of the things that you reminded your group this year about that marathon, not a sprint?
Well, there was tangible, objective data that we were getting better defensively. And that metric for us, for me, how we put together the roster, where we're spending our time, that was important, that we were building confidence within our building that we could get better defensively. And it would only be a matter of time before we won a few close games and we were confident to win, that we could continue to win. But so much of it was just making sure that you take the feelings out of it, all the subjectivity that can seep into when you're on a public stage of losing, especially in this era, social media, all the great, the great pressure of it, that we could look back and say, hey, fellas, we're doing this, and this right. As long as we stay committed to each other in this process, we were going to get the results. And then just after Christmas, went on I think 7-game winning streak, and then from there you could see the confidence in everybody's eyes that we could do it. And it culminates in what we are sitting next to here, a Horizon League tournament championship trophy, cut down the nets. You got this graphic up quick. Yeah, it's one of my favorite because I always feel like we're trying to be the realest group of men we can be. That's really our charge, that we could just each and every day be very honest with each other, vulnerable, real, authentic, challenge each other. And this picture of the locker room, I mean, it's the realest, in my opinion, one of the most sacred places out there still in our society. So that picture going up, it's of the guys who did it in the locker room right after, and it's one of my favorite pictures because it's them. There's a lot of turnover from this roster that you're looking at here behind us. If you're watching this on YouTube or maybe you're watching this on Fox 19, you can see us behind here. This group that just won the Horizon League tournament, got 3 guys back that contributed, a couple starters, 3 rotation players for sure. But you had to go out to the portal. You had to go get a few freshmen too. Walk us through what your approach was. Did you want to do anything differently next year where hey, we won the league, let's try and do the same thing? Or how did you approach this year's team? Yeah, great question. And, I'd start just with the retention. I think as much as everybody's trying to make this very simple and one size fits all with how you do it, I think it just gets more and more complicated. We always say we're just trying to keep our players and their families at the forefront of this. And I think we did that throughout the spring. It was difficult. But we just started with retention and just very honest conversations with families and young men. And I think the 5 that stayed, they stayed for each other. They stayed because they felt like maybe even though financially they could get more, They really valued where they were at in their development and what they had here. And I think that's always where you have to start, making sure you retain the right hearts and minds, and that so they can accept whoever that is, transfers, high school, international students, that they will receive them like this is ours, not mine. So I'm always thankful for that, and that's where we start. And then we just try to prioritize certain things regardless of where they're coming from that we know are important to me, like their humility level, their self-awareness level.
Yep.
That they haven't gotten to a point in their career where they're not hungry or they think they've arrived. That's very important. Their hands and their feet, how they move on the floor, so we can be great defensively, and then their feel and IQ. And then we really want to know where the environment they're coming from. We want to know those coaches. We really want to know the bad. And we just try to dive into that. And that's, again, where I'm thankful that as you're moving through that process, that our staff stayed put, stayed together, so you can move through all these people decisions in a short amount of time with, I hope, great efficiency.
I was talking last year on the rundown to Jeff Bowles, head coach over at Ohio, and he was talking about the portal party that he has every year. Brings some pizza, the coaches get together, they sit down, they try to piece everything together, right, and figure out what they want to do in the portal. And how do you guys approach something that happens so fast, where you don't really get to build a relationship with the high school players? This is something I ask every coach that sits down here, because I'm so fascinated by every coach's different opinion or strategy, or however you build that foundation around what you want to do to identify everything that you just said, not just the talent on the court, but you can tell you are somebody that really, truly, deeply cares about what's going on around and off the court too. How do you identify that in 48 hours in the portal?
I think you got to start with brutal honesty, and that comes from me. I think you can't. You have to be very true to whether that's an agent, a young man, whoever that they know who I am, and they know what's important to me, and they know what our day to day. What is the moral compass? What is the culture? Why am I going to trust my son with you? Or if you're the player, why am I going to trust myself with very, very valuable years? So I think honesty, brutal honesty about who we are, what we're about, because it's easy coming off an NCAA tournament to get attached to all this, which is great. I think it's good fruit to having a great process, but our process always starts with having the right-minded people. So we always just start with who the person is, and then where is that person, who's he been surrounded with? What type of environment? Do they know how to win? Do they know how to work? Do they know how to not make it about themselves? All those things, because this is such a long year. We experience so much, if we're doing it correctly, we experience so much failure and stress each and every day if our environment's correct, that you need the right temperament, the right heart posture to respond and respond and respond. So that's where we start, and thankfully, again, with the staff, we go through life together, a lot of husbands, a lot of fathers. We understand that this is, I don't really believe in work-life balance. I just think if you do it correctly with the right people, like my kids are very passionate about Wright State, and they know our players' names, and they cry, and it's brutal when we lose, and they're like, and that's what I want. And I want our players to watch me as a husband, father, know my children, know the good and the bad, the hard days as a dad. I want to walk through life, and that's not for everybody. For everybody, for that answer, you're going to get probably many other coaches who, let's make this the NBA. This is professionals. They're not boys. These guys are young men. They have no idea. But they do want accountability. They do want authenticity, and they want somebody to be real with them. And that's what we're trying to protect the most as we go out and evaluate who to bring in.
You've talked a lot about family. Your wife played at a pretty high level too, didn't she?
Yeah. Jill, my wife. Yeah, she's.
So you go home. Yeah. Are you getting all the feedback from the coaches? You getting the feedback at home too?
Jill, I always say this. She's a competitive advantage. She really, because when I go home, she's of sober mind. She's sound minded. She's even keeled, but she gets it. And so when you go home after a really bad loss, I think calming those waters for any coach or leader, your spouse is the first person. They're going to get the worst parts of me. And Jill's fantastic at that. She played, really good player, somebody that has just continued to grow with me throughout this. And I say it all the time, I would not be here without her. And she can still beat me in a free throw contest, 3-point shooting contest. So she gets the respect in terms of the basketball team.
Is it one of those things where, you take a loss and she's got to pick the spot of like, all right, we're doing the dishes now. Do I want to mention like, if you'd have just run this set here?
The best part is, Paul, when I get home and, with 5 kids, you can't make it to every game.
Yeah.
But I get home and maybe it was a close win or a tough loss, and I'll get the calmness from Jill, but then one of my kids will rat her out, like what she was like watching the game. I think she's pretty intense during the game.
Yeah.
Like, Mom said this or that. I'm like, wow, sweetie.
Well, I don't know. Are you an NFL football fan? Big?
Sort of.
Little bit. So, the show Quarterback on Netflix. So I don't know if you saw the clip yesterday. It was going viral, but Joe Flacco is going to be on Quarterback this upcoming season. They showed a little clip, and Flacco's wife, and he's got a lot of kids, young boys.
Yeah. And
one of his sons looked at his mom, Flacco's wife, and said, "I'm going to be so pissed if Dad goes off today." And she goes, "What?" And he goes, "I benched him in fantasy."
Yeah. I love it.
The caption was just, sometimes it's one of your own.
Yeah.
They keep you honest.
They do, and it's a beautiful thing. And I've learned through some of it's been really good for our family.
Yeah.
Teaching our kids how to suffer, lose, respond, and then just some of their points and evaluations and what they're catching and learning. They'd surprise you even at a young age what they're picking up.
Kids are very observant.
Oh, yes, they are.
How do you structure your summer now that the sport has basically gone to a 12-month calendar essentially? How do you structure what you guys want to do during your summer program?
I put it this way: we're trying to suffer quite a bit and serve quite a bit. I've just found when you can have those two ingredients, regardless if we've spent 10 years together or one day together, I bet at the end of suffering and cert we'll be pretty close or closer, and we'll see. Because I think you got to get to know each other as quickly as possible, and so I'm trying to be a little bit more patient with what I want to implement in terms of basketball, because you're so eager as a coach to get them organized. And that's certainly important, but more importantly, I want a foundation where our guys know who they are and know each other. And the greatest way to do that, I think those two things. So we try to just create that type of environment. A great way of doing that was first couple weeks doing our kids camp, and early morning workouts and doing things that are a little inconvenient, especially when you're coming off kind of the me season of this calendar where you've just been with yourself, and now fast forward and a lot of your time is spoken for. You're having to serve young people, or you're having to speak and communicate with young people who can give nothing to you. That's been awesome to see, and we're just trying to not take a day for granted in the time we have together. But those two things, suffering, serving, on the floor, off the floor, have kind of been our main focus.
So you'll do your 4-week program here in June. They get some time off, then come back for another 4-week program.
We're going to go eight straight.
8 straight.
8 straight. In a healthy dose of weight room, some conditioning down at the soccer field, and then we're going to play quite a bit, meet quite a bit just individually with them, and try to give them each and every angle of each other and ourselves. So again, by the end of July, we feel like we got a pretty good sense of who you are when it's great, who you are when it's really bad, and everywhere in between.
What are some of the things you like to encourage these guys to do off the court together? Do you set them up with, go to a baseball game, do something? Or
I found eating.
Okay.
Eating. They always want to eat. Breaking bread together is really one of the best. Everybody knows how to do it, pretty comfortable. So that's one thing. Our guys are getting into golfing, so we'll take them out for a round or two. But it really, what I come to find is that they just want the time together. So as long as you ask and you're consistent day in and day out with setting that expectation, pursuing them, and the roster top to bottom, that if you recruit the right kids, that they want to get together as well without you having to always pursue them.
I take it you're a really good golfer.
I'm not.
I don't believe you.
Yeah, I like to play.
I don't believe you, Coach.
I like to play. That's okay. I like to play, but as you can imagine, 5 children.
Yeah.
And the growing changes in our industry, that window to play.
What is the window to play?
That's a good question.
When do you
I
get
did
out?
play yesterday.
How'd you do?
Not great.
Oh, no.
Yeah, not great. But I enjoyed it.
Probably shot one over.
Yeah, no. We'll have to talk off air about what that score.
All right. That's fine. I'll come back up here.
That's what we'll do. We'll play around.
There we go.
Sam will film.
There we go. Mic'd up. We'll do like a golf cart, GoPro, do the whole thing. I love good. That. All right. So, when you look at this group specifically, and it was fun watching them get up and back. You played a game to 40, so really had an opportunity to see these guys in a 5-on-5 setting. Is there anybody that you feel like maybe in the portal you thought, what are we going to get out of him? And now through the first couple of weeks, you've been pleasantly surprised?
I would say, really, I think where I usually go is, oh no, we made a mistake. That usually grips me first. Whatever setting we're in, whatever I go into, it's almost like the longer you parent and coach, you're just trained to see the worst parts. And I would say, I think we knocked out of the park with the type of young men we have. That they've come in each and every day and just bought into one another, what we're trying to teach, the workload, all those things. Nobody's fighting it, and it's week 3, so you got some good time in this where it gets it can be mundane. So that'd be the first point. But I would stay with our returners. I've been very pleased with the leadership of Andre Holden. He came in from Hamilton High School very quiet. Everybody sees the loudness that he plays with on the floor as athlete, but his voice and communication has been tremendous, and it's really galvanized the team here early on. So he's going to be a huge part, not only what we see on the floor with how our team looks, competes, but just more leading the day-to-day monotony of hey, let's attack this like it is March and make sure we get the most out of it.
And Kellen, too. Yeah,
Kellen's been – those two, as you put together a roster, your front court pieces are a real challenge. There's such a need for size, and then practical athleticism, good hands and feet. Their ability to impact winning within the culture because we have years of experience with them. But their block percentage, their ability to protect the rim, their ability to move in ball screens, cover ground, take up space, rebound the ball, all those winning margins, we feel like they're gonna both take a pretty significant jump.
I want to go back to the NCAA tournament game from this year, playing Virginia, and I was so disappointed I couldn't make it. I got sick that week, and we couldn't get out there, and I was sitting there on the couch because you guys played, and then Miami played right afterwards, and it was like a little Southwest Ohio Invitational in Philadelphia, and you took Virginia right down to the wire. Why were you guys able to have so much success early on in that game? And I know Virginia kind of overwhelmed you there down the stretch, but just in general, what was your thought going in, and how were you able to execute like you did?
Yeah, just the mindset of the team. I put it that way. That they weren't afraid to die. They could go out and compete and just be unapologetic about how we do that, and that groove for your team. You hope to find it each and every day where they're not afraid to fail here when nobody's watching. So when you get on the biggest stage, which we talk about a lot, we're going to prepare to play against the best teams on the biggest stages. And when we do, you expect to be there. And I was very proud of how they showed up and competed together. It helps when you make shots. Michael Marbe making 5 threes. And, I look back at that game, and Virginia played well. I think there was 15 lead changes back and forth. Sometimes you see in those games where the higher seed, they tighten up. But I thought both teams played really well. It just got to that 5-minute point in the game, and you got to go take the win. And it felt like from that point, looking back, it's like, wow, we can win this, and we just need to go take it. But I was very pleased with how we stayed true to who we were, and our guys all top to bottom showed up, and played for each other, and on that stage, that's what you want to see, just the mentality of your team, and I thought you could see that.
What do you think, and I'll leave this as open-ended as wherever you want to take it, what do you think of the state of college basketball right now?
I think it needs great leadership. I think it's really, from the coach's standpoint, guys have to really look in the mirror and do you want to lead young people? So for me, and how we've built this and how I've seen, I've always said I've been really well led in all areas of life. And why I love coaching is coming alongside young people and helping them, however long you get them, a year, 2 years, 3 years, that they need you to help them and lead them. So I think from that standpoint, it's awesome. I really do think the guys that are in this for those reasons, I think your ability to produce and develop young men who will be better because they know you love them and you're pursuing them. It's not transactional, even though everybody wants that to be the main vocal point. I think as long as you can keep your compass on your players as men, you'll be just fine. But obviously all the rules changing, it seems like every day. So in my opinion, if you can just guard your heart over bitterness and being offended as the leader, you'll be just fine, because there's a million off-ramps right now to complain, be bitter, be offended that they may have this or you may have that, or all the things that, man, I definitely do. But because of my wife and the staff, we can hopefully tame those off-ramps. And I just think from that standpoint, I view it as a great opportunity. The industry needs people to view it that way far more than it's all professional, transactional, even though that's true, but still pursue the players as men first.
I was really impressed the way that practice went a little bit ago, and the way, what I mean by that, the way the players, you could tell, have already bonded. Somebody's falling on the floor, you're telling everybody go pick them up, right? Yep. Grouping up together after a missed shot, made shot, whatever. The little things that you try to instill in the group right away that say, hey, this is going to lay the foundation for the character that we are trying to build going along. Every coach does it differently, but everything that you were doing was very regimented, very specific, and very direct to what you were trying to accomplish in today's workout. That feels like something that you're translating to these guys right away, and they're picking up on it.
I hope so. I'm glad you said that, because we don't know. You're so close to it, and I know there's so many areas to improve as a coach, and just trying to drive an environment that when we all go home, we can feel like we got it right each and every day, regardless of the results that come during the season. And I always view that from my most important roles, which I hope all these guys step into someday as husband and father. And as I grow in those roles, I know when that's clicking, it's not about me. So you're just trying to find all your rhythms to get these guys' thoughts off themselves, because social media and the age we're in of just loving yourself, it's not healthy. And I think what I'm coming to find is most young people understand that's there's really no fulfillment there. There's a bit of a void. There's a lot of lies with that mentality. So when you can create an environment that is for everyone else, and you see that succeed, and actually there's more for you available when you make it about everybody else, they take confidence in it. So that's just a frequent conversation, and I need it. Again, I always tell you, I'm trying to just die to myself every day, but it's an everyday decision. And again, I'm just thankful for a staff that backs me, a great administration, and these players that when we sit down to recruit, this is what you'll hear. That they want to be a part of that type of environment.
NCAA tournament expansion, how do you think it'll help or hurt Wright State?
I think from my understanding of it, to be a 14 seed, a 13 seed, I think it makes it more difficult from that standpoint.
I don't think there's any doubt.
But again, I don't have any control over it. So I just know as long as this is what I'm saying. Like that is a great question, and I do have opinions on it, but I'm trying to just make sure that whatever comes across my desk, that we just focus on what drives winning here. And if we can continue to drive development of our young people, hopefully our resume is so good that what I just said to you is proven that it's not true, that we can still get those higher seeds. But I think that's unfortunate from that standpoint, Paul, but I trust the leadership at Wright State, our new commissioner in the Horizon League. She was here yesterday. She was tremendous. So I know the leadership above me, and that's really all I can impact and influence, and I trust those people. So where we go from here, come what may.
I don't know if you are or aren't allowed to talk about this, but I'm going to give you a chance to talk about it. There was a report today that there will be a new athletic director here at Wright State. I believe Pete Thamel reported it right before we started recording. Can you talk about that at all? Or
I won't officially. Okay. I know I'm on the committee.
Okay.
Something I'm thankful to be on. I won't mention specific names, but it's been a great learning process for me. Just seeing the inner workings of our administration and the committee at hand and what they care about from all different pockets, from your administration to our athletic department to our student athletes, all getting a voice, and the alignment there has been encouraging for me. So I think official news will come out soon. Maybe it already has since we sit here and talk, but I've just been appreciative of the process because I do think whoever that person is, I know we got the best candidate, the best person for the job.
A few more questions here before we wrap up. I look down here. I can't believe it's already been 35 minutes. I feel like we could sit here for 2 hours.
Yeah,
but Coach, this upcoming season, scheduling, it's always a hot topic. It's one of the handful of questions I ask everybody here. It was especially hot in the mid-major streets last year, where you saw Travis Steele talking a lot about it. Flynn Clayman, of course, talked about it at High Point. That very emotional interview after they beat Wisconsin. What has your impression of scheduling been like for Wright State?
It's been doors have definitely shut in terms of opportunity, which again we're trying to put together a very competitive schedule. I think the buy game market is shrinking for two reasons. I don't know if analytically it would make much sense to play us just with where we fall in quad 2 or quad 3, and how in my opinion, how hard a lot of these Power 4 schedules are already. So I get that logic from their standpoint. And then just the markets, there's a high demand from everybody to just bring in more money from those buy games. So for those two reasons, we're being pinched for sure, but I still think you can go out and schedule really good mid-majors and go getting MTEs that you're with people that expect to win their league. And that's always been, whether it's here in Ohio with the MAC, playing really good schools here that have great tradition where it means something for the fan bases. I love that. And then just playing in an MT where, again, you're filled with people that expect to go to the NCAA tournament. So that's if you can't get bought, which we're having an awfully hard time, and I understand that, let's play really good mid-majors who have the same issue and make sure we're best preparing our players for the biggest stage.
Yeah, it's been fun the last couple of years. All the talent in this area, and I think you're starting to see it rise. Xavier expected to have a much improved roster this year. Cincinnati under Jared Calhoun. Miami, you're still the last team to beat Miami at Millett Hall.
Wow.
That win 2 years ago at Millett Hall is still the last time they've lost there.
Yeah.
So it's been fun the last couple of years seeing this area and the dynamic. Cincinnati and Dayton will play this upcoming season. Do you ever catch wind or hear anything of more teams around here playing each other?
I don't, but I know, at least from the coaches, I think there's an appetite for it. I think there's a growing appetite. I always try to just apply common sense to schedule. It makes a lot of sense for me, but I certainly understand some of the politics and some of the reasons why everybody has their – first off, scheduling is way harder and way more complicated than most understand. But
why is that?
Because there's a lot of there's building conflicts. There's how the whole puzzle fits in with that one specific game may or may not match up. There's financial needs. There's ego of the coaches. There's egos of the ADs. There's egos of maybe the people around those people that want certain things. And every year is a little bit different of a criteria based on maybe how good you feel like you're going to be. Or in this case, coming off an NCAA tournament, we don't have a lot of control over it, in which everybody always kind of assumes you do, which the market really drives what's available to you and what's not. So I think all those factors add into that. But we've always tried to play a really competitive mid-major schedule and then take bye games when they make sense for us.
How do you like this fan base that feels like it's really embraced this school and this winning?
It's been great. I mean, they're the best. And I've seen it, again, firsthand from every different angle. Something I'm just very appreciative of just the constant support. And I just think of all the times we've lost, how much they care, all the expectations here. But I think really most importantly, the consistency around our players to want it to be relational, to kind of take on this new era when we've been very retention-based here at Wright State to now have to retool your roster every year. They haven't flinched at that, and they've really trusted that we can still find young people that maybe you don't get 4 years, but you get 1 year. So we better double down on who we've been, and if we do that, in my opinion, again, this era, we'll continue to find success.
What do you hope these fans see out of this team?
That they love each other, that they'll compete for each other, that they understand it's not about them. You know, that what I said at the very beginning, that we could compete in a manner that we understand what's really important in life. And we know everybody wants to win. We want to win, but I've just found when you can make it about the bigger things, the winning will happen. But just that joy of competition would be the main thing.
I asked Darren Horn this question last week, and I'm going to ask you this same question since you're both in the Horizon League. Jared Calhoun gets the job at Cincinnati. A lot of Cincinnati fans listen to this show. He was in the Horizon League for a while up at Youngstown State. What was your impression of Jared and the coach that Cincinnati has now?
He was just eager to learn. You know, I've caught that in the industry that from his first year at Youngstown to all his years and then Utah, like he's a learner. I think he has really good humility in that sense that he's going to work and try to put people around him that fill up his blind spots, good self-awareness, and you know he cares deeply about winning for this area. So I think just that intrinsic motivation that you hope all your coaches have with your fan base. It's not just about their career, their profession, their resume. I think Jared will have all those boxes that I think will lead a lot of the hard times because those are coming. I know the honeymoon stage is nice, but there's going to be a game that you lose that you shouldn't have. And I think in those moments he'll lead well.
All right, my last question for you. You have 5 kids. Mm-hmm. I'm expecting my first in November.
Let's go.
Give me one piece of advice.
Oh.
What is something that November, let's call it December 1st, then I'm sitting there, I'm going, oh, man. I'm glad Clint told me this.
Yeah, serving your wife, starting there, serving your wife, making sure that's your first focus, praying for your wife, praying for, boy or girl?
No, we're going to try and be surprised.
There you go. And just fight and put away your phone. Try to be present.
Feast week, Coach.
Yeah, okay. Well,
it's feast week, Coach.
Maybe lock in a 2-week or a 2-hour window for feast week. That I'll give you. But I think, just being present with your wife and soaking that up because it's the best. It is that last year, October 20th, we had Booker David the morning of our exhibition game with Ohio. So we have Booker early that morning. And then I get to go right in the locker room with our team that night, and we just talk about labor and being a dad, and it's the best. You'll have the greatest perspective ever of what life is really supposed to be for you and the leadership. I'm looking forward to it. You said November?
Middle of November.
We'll be sending some Raider gear for you.
There we go.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
That'd be great.
Coach, thanks so much for taking some time today. I can't wait to get back up here. It was awesome to see the group. All your coaching staff has always been so welcoming. It's been good to get to know all of them, and I was really impressed with the facilities, the team, and I'm excited to watch them this year. Yeah, thank you for being here, and thank you for the work you're doing. And again, when you come back up, 18 holes. Done. Video on the golf cart. Done. Like, you don't have to convince me. It's already done. We'll just got to find a time.
It's a great way to
All
end.
right.
Thanks, Paul.
That's Clint Sargent. He's the head coach of the Wright State Raiders. I'm Paul Fritschner signing off. We appreciate each and every one of you watching this episode of the Rebound Rundown. Make sure if you're watching this on YouTube, you go down there, you hit the subscribe button. Maybe you're watching this on Fox 19. Go over and check out our YouTube channel. You can subscribe on any major podcast platform, Apple, Spotify. Leave a rating and review. Really helps the show out. And follow us on social media at Rebound Rundown. For Coach, I'm Paul Fritschner. We'll talk to you next week. Enjoy the 4th of July, everybody. Enjoy your weekend. And we'll talk to you next week on the Rebound Rundown.